Hey guys, it's Mr. Peterson. Today we're going to be looking at the Bobcat sheet, problems 1 through 9. Alright, so first up it's x minus 4 is equal to negative 3. So what we would need to do to solve for x is we would need to add 4 to both sides. Again, the reason for that is we would need to undo subtracting by 4 by adding by 4, and that creates a 0 pair. It leaves the x all by itself over there. So we get x equals, and now we have to do some math here. We have to think, what would a negative 3 and a positive 4 be? Well, that would be a positive 1. Our answer is positive 1. If you solve that, if you plug it back in, 1 minus 4 is indeed negative 3. All right, part B of that problem. It's some number divided by 3. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it. Some number divided by 3 equals 12. Well, we have to ask ourselves, how could we undo dividing by 3? And the answer is to multiply by 3. We multiply both sides by 3, and those 3's cancel out on the left side there, giving us just the n all by itself. Because remember, these cancel and become 1's, so we get 1n is equal to 12 times 3, which would be 36, is our missing number. So 36 divided by 3 is indeed 12, so that checks out. All right, let's move on to number 3. It says that Sally walked 5 1/4 miles, but Josie walked 5/8 of the distance that Sally walked. How far did Josie walk? Well, we know that Josie walks 5/8 of, remember, of means times, the distance that Sally walks, which is 5 1/4. So that's the problem we need to end up doing. So this would be equal to 5/8 times, this would be 20 plus 1 more would be 21 over 4. You want to see if there's anything that can simplify. Unfortunately, there's not in this case. So we would just multiply left to right. 5 times 21 is 105. 4 times 8 is 32, so we end up with 105 divided by 32. So now we have to do a division problem. Alright, so how many 32's are in 105? Well, it would go 3 times, which is 96. 105 take away 96 would be 9. So we got 3 whole groups and then 9 30-seconds of another group. So the answer would be that she walked, no wait, not 9, 3 and 9 30-seconds of a mile is what Josie did. All right, let's do number 5. Mr. Peterson needs 7 1/2 of a half feet of butcher paper to cover his door. If the butcher paper comes in sections that are 1 3/4 feet long, how many sections will he need? All right, well, so this is, again, you got to ask yourself what operation's going on here. This to me sounds like a division problem, because I know I have a big distance and I need to cover it with littler distances, and they're asking you how many of those littler equal sections would it take to cover your door. So that's a division problem. So it would be 7 1/2, and I would need to divide that into groups of 1 3/4. Okay, before I can operate on this, I need to rewrite them as improper fractions. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 1 more is 15 halves, divided by 1 times 4 is 4, plus 3 more is 7/4. All right, this is a dividing fractions problem, so I need to multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. That would be 15 halves times 4/7. All right, I want to see if there's anything that might cancel and make this an easier problem. And indeed, 2 and 4 share a common factor of 2. 2 goes into itself once. 2 goes into 4 twice. So 15 times 2 is 30. 1 times 7 is 7. All right, so now I have to do a little division. How many 7's are in 30? Well, that would go 4 times, and that's 28, so there would be 2 more left. So I need 4 2/7 of a section to cover my door. I know that kind of seems weird. All right, one more here. Number 7, actually 2 more. Find the quotient by drawing a model. 1/2 divided 4 ways. Well, to do this, we have to draw something that would represent a half. And so this looks like it's a whole, but if we draw a little dotted line and make an equal section over here, you can see how that represents the 1/2 that's still there and the whole that was originally there, 1 out of 2 pieces. All right, but we need to take the half that was there and divide it 4 ways. So if we do that, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, but we need to think about what happened to the whole. Well, the whole also, this would need to get divided that way. So we would end up with one piece here would represent 1/8. Each section would represent 1/8. And we can show that with the algorithm. If we do 1/2 divided by 4, that's the same thing as 1/2, and then we multiply by the reciprocal times 1/4, which would equal 1/8, which is the answer that we got with our model. All right, one more today. This one says, if the tax rate is 7%, how much tax would you pay on an item that is $4.50, rounded to the nearest cent? So remember, this is a percent proportion problem, or it's also a multiplication problem, depending on how we want to think about it. We need to figure out what is 7% of $4.50. What is 7% of 450? So we need to remember that of means times. We need to remember that 7% in decimal form is 0.07, and then we have times 4.5. And so if we do this multiplication problem, it should give us the answer of how much tax we have. So let's do a little bit of side work over here. Times 0.07. Remember, when you multiply, you do not need to line up the decimal. We're treating this like 45 times 7. 7 times 5 is 35, and we would carry the 3. 7 times 4 would be 28, plus 3 more would be 31. Remember, though, this is really like a 7 times a 40 plus 30 more. So this was 315, but we need to move over the decimal 1, 2, 3 times. So our answer is 0.315. It says round to the nearest cent, so that 5 would round that 1 up to a 2. So we could say that it's about 32 cents that we would pay in tax. All right, tune in tomorrow for another 5 Bobcat Builder problems.